tell mama, got the blue one more time. 'Cause I'm lying down, down in the dirt. Child, I'm lying down, down in the dirt. You know I feel torn down, I feel hurt, yeah. Gonna cry, but I can't say goodbye. Just keep on passing by. Lonely when I'm trained, yeah, trained. Yeah, I want a bad girl. Honey, I'm not ashamed. March on, march on, march on. Hey, march on. You got the soldier on.
Welcome, everybody, to The Buzz with yours truly, Momma T. We got a great show for you today. First, we will be interviewing #4 Billboard charting blues album artist, live from the Northern Plains, Jennifer Lyn. Let's do a quick word about Grand Forks Best Source, and then we'll get into the interview. Today's episode is sponsored in part by Grand Forks Best Source. They're a cutting-edge local media broadcasting studio with captivating shows, on-location event coverage, and unparalleled advertising opportunities. Grand Forks Best Source has become a haven for podcasters like me seeking to bring their visions alive. If you're a podcaster looking for studio or platform, or a local business seeking to advertise, go ahead and email Paul at local@gfbestsource.com. You can call him at 701-740-9337, or you can go to their website that's listed on your screen there, gfbestsource.com. Tell them Momma T sent you.
March on, march on, march on. Hey, march on. You got the soldier on.
Well, hi there, Jennifer Lyn. Welcome to the show.
Oh,
And
thanks.
you know, we already have a comment. Thanks, Ricky. Ricky says he likes my hat.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you were able to make it, because I do have a little bit of a following over in Grand Forks, and you're going to be there at the Empire on Friday, right?
Correct. Yep.
And then in Bismarck on the 17th, on Thursday?
I will be actually Fargo Moorhead area, Dilworth, Fargo Moorhead, that area.
Oh yeah, you're from Bismarck.
Right.
I've got cue cards everywhere. I've got scratches. So how did you get into music? Like where did your bug come from?
I got into songwriting when I was in middle school, and it was a conversation I had with my grandmother that got me back into music about 11, 12 years ago now. So, yeah.
So your grandma kind of...
Yeah, she definitely did. She passed away from cancer, and while she was having her last hurrah, I guess you could say, the last months of her life, she had a lot of conversations with everyone in the family, and her conversation with me was the importance she felt that music had in my life, and that I should be sharing it with others. So she really inspired me to get back into it, and the rest is history.
I'm really glad she had that conversation with you. You have made quite a difference. How many albums do you have?
With our band, Jennifer Lyn and the Groove Revival, we've got 3 now, with the current album, which you discussed, which is the live album, Live from the Northern Plains. So, yeah.
I'm just so happy for you. You got on the Billboard. What else was it? You got there was something else.
Our first 2 albums had some nominations with the Independent Blues Music Awards. So yeah, that was a pretty cool treat that we weren't expecting. And same with the Billboard charts. That one's all our fans. When they consume the music, it's a good representation of, I guess, the relationship we have with them and how awesome they are. So kudos to our fans.
Right?
Yeah.
Can't do anything without fans, I tell you.
That's right. Yep, absolutely.
So what do you think was maybe your, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Yeah, you kind of cut out for a second there.
Yeah, I've got a bad connection where I am right now, and I'm going to be going someplace with a better connection here soon with the show. But
Nice.
about your songwriting process, what do you think it was your hardest song to write?
Uh, Honestly, I have a co-writer. He's in my band. His name is Richard Torrance. We've been the albums that we put out with our band, we've written together. So that really helps, honestly, because two minds are always better than one when you get those moments where you can't think of what should come next. But in terms of probably the hardest song we've written, I guess, to be honest, we try not to labor too much over it. We feel like if we are laboring too much over it, we kind of put it on the shelf and kind of see what else is in the hopper that we can work on and kind of come back to it. So we've kind of been fortunate that way. We haven't had too many that we've had to just sit and grind on. Granted, it's an iterative process where we're always kind of revising what we write, but in terms of like the bare bones of it, the first iteration of the song usually comes pretty quickly when he and I work together.
Well, tell me about your writing process. I mean, everybody approaches it different. Some people start with lyrics, some people just get it just flows out.
Yeah. Well, our co-writing relationship works very well because I'm more of a lyricist and he is the riff master. He's got the amount of lyrics I have going around in my head pair so well with the amount of riffs he has going in his head. And usually when we sit down to write together, he'll play some sort of a riff and we're literally off and running, and I'll have lyrics almost immediately that are kind of pairing with it. We get kind of a storyline going because I definitely, as a songwriter, like to tell a story. I feel, that's kind of the point rather than just kind of rushing from guitar solo to guitar solo.
Right.
Let's put a cool storyline in the air. Sometimes it's something that's maybe going on in our lives or something we've seen around us. Inspirations everywhere when you're looking closely. And so for he and I, when we work together, that's kind of how it goes. Usually it'll start with a guitar riff and then we're off and running.
Well, tell me about the rest of your band. How long you guys been together? How did your band come together?
Great question. Well, I started out as a trio long ago, and then once that kind of progressed, I started as a trio because I wanted to really challenge myself on guitar. I knew that if I wanted to get better, the only way to do that was to do the heavy lifting on my own. And then we moved to a 4-piece, and about the time that COVID hit, we were transitioning to a 5-piece band where we added keyboards. So we're 2 guitars, where both of us will do lead work as well as rhythm work, drums, bass, and keys. And to be honest, I'm super fortunate. My band is all from the same location. And with the exception, 3 of the 5 of us are not originally from this area. Our keyboard player, Barb Jiskra, is originally from Washington, D.C. And our drummer, Jim Anderson, is originally from California. And I'm originally from Minneapolis area. And the others in our band are originally from this area, even though Richard, my musical partner in crime, he went out to California for quite a few years. He had recording contracts with Shelter and Capitol Records before making his way back here. And so it's really just kind of really lucky that we're all in the same location at the current time. And they're just great people. I couldn't ask for a better group of humans to make music with. So I'm pretty spoiled.
Well, that's awesome. Everybody needs to be spoiled, especially
Yeah.
if you're talented like you are. I mean,
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Tell me about these other albums. Tell me about the 3 albums you have.
Yeah, so Nothing Holding Me Down it's an EP. It's a 6-song EP that we released in 2021. So, when COVID was a thing, we basically started writing that album during lockdown. We knew we wanted to kind of do something together in a more serious nature, and we had nothing but time on our hands. So it kind of started with Zoom writing sessions, and then once it became a little more clear that we could, hang out in small groups, Richard and I started writing together, and then we recorded that album in pieces because at the time, there was so much uncertainty with COVID that getting our entire band together in a room just wasn't possible. So that album came first. We released it in 2021, and then in 2023 we released Gypsy Soul, which was a five song EP, and we kind of always had intentions of having Nothing Holding Me Down and Gypsy Soul being kind of like a nice bookend pairing for basically kind of like a full-length album. We weren't able to do a full-length album at the time, but the intention was we knew Nothing Holding Me Down was going to be a lot rock heavy, and Gypsy Soul is a lot of blues. So the pairing is actually kind of really nice. In fact, we created a vinyl from those two albums called Astro Gypsy, which is a full-length LP that includes both of those albums. And then our most recent album, which we released earlier this year, was our live album, Live from the Northern Plains, which is 5 of our originals that are previously released on the 2 albums I mentioned, and 5 tip of the hat covers, which are just that. They're tip of the hats to some of the artists and musicians that have inspired our original music.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. So what was I going to say? I always do this. That's why I've got all these.
That's okay.
What do you think is the most difficult challenge facing musicians today?
Oh, we're competing against so many different forms of entertainment. Talking to my friends that were of age in the 70s, I'm an 80s child, so I missed out on a lot of the fun, although the 80s were awesome. So were the 90s. But what I hear from a lot of my friends, when music in terms of live performance was in its prime, not that it isn't now, but you know what I'm saying, there was a time where people went out in droves to live music because it was literally one of the best forms of entertainment that you had. It was affordable, and the enjoyment level obviously is really high. Back in the 70s, I would hear from friends the only time you would go into a place where there was live music and it wasn't packed is when somebody had really good weed. And then there was a party going somewhere else that you would have to track down and try to find them. But so that, it's kind of a joke that way, where nowadays I feel like we're competing against Netflix, Amazon Prime. People don't have to leave their homes now to get good entertainment. So I feel as musicians, though, it makes us up our game. We have to really try to bring forward a performance that is worthy of having people come out. When people come to our shows, I thank them for making the choice to come out, because I genuinely mean that. I understand that people have lots of choices, not to mention, the typical social things with family and friends and everything else. So yeah, I think personally that's one of the biggest challenges, is there's just so many different options that people can pursue now for entertainment. So you really got to try to market and promote your show to the best of your ability to get people to come out.
Right. You got to keep live music alive, man.
Absolutely.
For those who can't leave the house, that's good options. How can they listen to your music?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. We just started. We haven't created any DVDs yet, but we're definitely moving in that direction. But what we did do. So right now we're performing kind of like a series of tip of the hat concerts. We did one earlier this year that was called The British Invasion, which was British blues rock that came out of the 60s and 70s. And we're currently doing a tip of the hat series, which is called the American Rock and Roll Experience, which was, kind of the American version of what was going on in Britain. So everything from Jimi Hendrix to Janis Joplin, etc. And we recorded the British Invasion concert in 2 different locations on our last run of shows. And I put together basically a video stream that people can purchase, kind of like a virtual ticket. The nice thing is they can watch it as many times as they want. So that's unfortunately putting together a live stream event. There's so many moving parts, I'm sure, as you know, being a podcast host. So eventually, maybe someday we'll be able to do that with having virtual tickets. It's just so hard to kind of get the cogs together. And then what if something goes wrong during the show? Now we have someone trying to troubleshoot. And so you have all these kind of logistical issues that we thought it made the most sense that after the show was complete, we would put together kind of a package so people could still enjoy that. Because we do have a lot of fans overseas that we haven't got to see in person yet. And also just throughout the US, a lot of fans that maybe due to proximity aren't able to catch us live. So we do want to make sure that we're making those experiences available for everybody, because we certainly hope to visit with them someday in person.
Great answer. What is the best thing about being a musician?
For me, music is the one thing that I've found that no matter the political climate, no matter someone's background, how much money they make, the color of their skin, it's the one thing I feel that can unite people, even if it's for a couple moments, 2 hours, 3 hours in an evening. It's a common denominator that people can come together and enjoy regardless of all the crap that we have to experience in our life. So for me, that is really what's it. And then having anyone come up to us and say, your song, whatever we've written, really resonated with me. We have one song, we've heard that quite a bit, that it's helped people maybe through some hard times. And I feel like that's the whole point. The human condition isn't easy for anyone. Nobody gets through life unscathed, right? So, we're all in this together, and it's just kind of nice when the music can wrap a bow around that and kind of bring people together.
I love that answer.
Oh,
That's it. Just yeah. It makes you feel. It makes everybody feel, and it just makes us all connected. Just for one song, maybe.
Exactly. I'm with you on that one. It's magic.
We do have to take a break here real quick. I want the listeners, watchers to know you can message my page, the Little Bobby Buzz page on Facebook, or email me at tnelson469@gmail.com with questions for our upcoming Ask Momma T segment. You can ask me for advice, ask my opinion on certain subjects, or ask me about the podcasts I'm involved in. But we're going to take a break real quick and hear from Soul Kitchen and the other podcast I'm with, Renegade Radio.
Come and get a taste of Korea at Grand Forks' newest dining sensation, Soul Kitchen in the Grand Cities Mall. Dine in or take out handcrafted dishes featuring astonishing and unique flavors with just the right levels of spiciness to suit all tastes. At Soul Kitchen, each meal is custom made to your order by superb soul-trained chefs. Open for dinner Tuesday through Friday from 4:30 to 8, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sundays 11 to 6, and closed Mondays. Discover what's been missing from your dining adventures with consistent 5-star reviews from satisfied customers. Soul Kitchen, right across from Rumors Sports Bar and Grill in the Grand Cities Mall. Stop in and discover the best-kept dining secret in Grand Forks.
You don't get this stuff from Howard Stern Show. You don't get this stuff from anything but Renegade Radio.
Well, there we go. You gotta make sure you join me and the rest of the Renegade Radio gang live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. on Renegade Radio or on Sean Slauson's Facebook page. Our guest tomorrow night is indie author Christopher Smith. Back to Jennifer Lyn. Can you tell me about, I mean, you guys have been playing everywhere. Like, you guys are all over the place. Can you think of your favorite gig?
Oh boy. I feel like that's a tough one. Every gig, every show is so different, that they all always have kind of like a special meaning when the night's over. That would be hard to say. The big thing is just getting to connect with other humans. I mean, as a musician, that's, if we're going to perform, that's what our intention is. So ideally that would be our best show, is being able to perform in front of humans who are enjoying the evening right along with us.
Where all have you played?
Right now,
I mean,
we're
obviously you can't name them all. The show's not that long.
yeah. Right now we're focusing just on Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. And so we've played our hometown of Bismarck. We just had a really great show there 2 weeks ago now. And Grand Forks, as you mentioned, will be there actually this coming Friday. Dilworth, we have been playing at TAC Music Venue. We'll be there on Thursday. Minot, we perform at Minot State University's campus at Ann Nicole Nelson Hall. We'll be there next Saturday. And we perform in Sioux Falls, Brookings, Rapid City, as far as South Dakota goes. And in the cities, Minneapolis, we performed in St. Paul, and a couple outlying venues that are in the suburbs in St. Michael, as well as St. Cloud. So quite a few places we've hit on this most recent run of shows, and it's been a good ride so far. A couple more shows remaining, and then that'll be kind of be the wrap. We tend to hibernate in the winter. It's kind of hard to travel when obviously where we live.
So tell me about Jennifer Lyn as a child. In school, you said you started writing songs in school. Were you really outgoing, or were you shy?
I was an athlete, so it seemed like as a result of that, you naturally kind of have a collection of friends. I grew up as an only child, so I probably was a little bit more outgoing, just because of the fact, here's a kid who's cooped up with adults all day, and you unleash this kid with other kids. And I was probably the one that was like, "Hi, what's your name? What's your name?" I was probably that kid. But my childhood was pretty normal. I grew up in a suburb of Minneapolis, so suburbia, and was big into sports. Took me through college. That's kind of how music was a little bit on the sidelines until the last 11 or so years. I was a college athlete, and so for me, I used to write short stories. That's kind of how I would get through long winters in Minnesota, especially when we were locked inside due to a blizzard or what have you. And I can remember in middle school, I turned on VH1, and on my TV that was this big. Remember those days? TVs were, it was in my room as a kid. Yeah, exactly. And it was a Bruce Springsteen documentary on VH1, and man, that was it. That was the first I had heard his music. I was in middle school, a little late to that party, and but man, did his songwriting really resonate with me. I was like, boy, I could take my stories that I'm writing and I could do something cool with music, because I had already started doing choir. Middle school is when choir starts, and I absolutely loved that. Realized I was kind of musically inclined, and the rest is history. Started writing really horrible songs, as we all do when we first start out, and I've slowly been refining that. It's been a fun road.
Do you play any other instruments, or just the vocal cords?
Just vocals and guitar. Yep, that's it. Guitar. I haven't been able to put it down ever since I picked it up after that conversation with my grandmother. So yeah, it's been no boredom there.
There's something about the blues, though. I mean, as far as all genres go, what gave you the idea that you would be best at blues and rock blues?
My friend Richard, actually, it's his fault. I grew up listening to a lot of different music, everything from gospel to outlaw country, you know, Willie Whalen, all of that fun stuff. Also Motown, and he heard me actually sing when we first met in a musical setting, and was like, I was kind of doing some country stuff at the time. Um, and he was like, whoa, your voice has got way too much soul to be singing the stuff that you're singing. And he was like, well, what kind of, list some of your favorite country artists from back in the day to now. And it was, you know, Travis Tritt, very, very bluesy, with his vocal delivery. Chris Stapleton, it's like, hello, he's basically a soul singer that's in the country genre. And the list goes on and on. But anyway, once I kind of dove down that rabbit hole and was revisiting, honestly, a lot of the music that I grew up with. I grew up with Cream, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, so B.B. King. So going back and kind of re-listening and revisiting, it really just made sense that that's where I belonged.
Photos here: Jimi Hendrix, B.B. King, Little Bobby, Buddy
Perfect.
Guy, Eric Clapton, Muddy Waters, Bonnie Raitt,
Perfect.
and Mississippi Fred McDowell.
Perfect. See?
That's
Yeah. And for me, like the stylistic, for me, the British blues that came out from like the Rolling Stones and what Clapton was throwing down. I'm a huge Rory Gallagher fan, even though he wasn't British, you know, he's Irish. That time period when they were basically taking our blues, repackaging it, making the guitars really loud. For me, that is my favorite variation. I do like traditional blues as well, but I'm a little ADD where you gotta electrify it and make it a little bit louder for me. So Muddy Waters, I love Muddy Waters music because, you know, he had some of that overdriven guitars, and so yeah, just kind of fit. And then after that, songwriting became a lot easier. Everything became a lot easier once I kind of realized where I really truly belonged. And it's just been a great fit ever since, going down that rabbit hole.
And, you know, I've been around a lot of musicians in the last few years, and it just seems like the blues families, they're just so supportive. Like when you get your blues family together, I mean, it's hard to explain. They just seem more supportive and less competitive with each other than like other genres.
You know, now that you say that, I've experienced a lot of what you're describing, everywhere from, I've had the pleasure of meeting, you know, some really, really big artists in our genre, like Joe Bonamassa, and all the way to, you know, some good friends of mine who are slugging it out in the trenches like me. And you're totally right. There is this camaraderie, and I think it's probably because they realize how hard it is. You know, when you say, unfortunately, like when you say, you know, I'm a blues artist, or that's kind of the roots of my music, sometimes people look at you like you're the quote unquote redheaded stepchild, you know, because you know, there's a lot of people also, I think, even from music listeners that might not understand or even consider that what they're listening to is really kind of very much rooted in the blues. You know, a lot of people, when I talk to them, just people who in general, like maybe that aren't coming to our shows, just talking in general, when I say, oh yeah, well, I fall under the blues genre. Really? You're just singing about how sad you are? And I'm like, whoa, no, you know, I'm like, do you not like Stevie Ray Vaughan? You know, and they're like, oh, he's not blues. I go, okay. I feel like there's going to be a pie chart that gets drawn, and I'm going to start, there's a Venn diagram, and I have to go into a whole bunch of, but anyway, Yeah, there is a lot of camaraderie within our genre, and like jokingly, because I feel like sometimes they understand how maybe hard it is to be in a genre that is not as mainstream anymore. So yeah, it's a good
In
place
order
to
to,
be. It's good people.
in order to write or sing the blues, you have to feel the blues.
Oh yeah, I feel it's very hard for me to sing something I don't connect with. It just doesn't come off right. I mean, we've had that with songs that we've maybe chosen as a cover, and I'll try singing it, and I'm like, I just can't really relate to this story. So we, find a different different song. And with our originals, obviously, we don't typically struggle with that because we're writing from a place of either we've experienced it firsthand or have witnessed it. So it's a little bit easier to connect when you're the songwriter.
So one of the reasons I do this one separately from the other podcast I'm on, and the reason I've got this, I keep this this clean rating on here because one of my things, it was little Bobby's thing too. You got to get the kids into the music, and so this podcast goes out to every platform, and it keeps a clean rating so the kids can watch it. What do you think is the biggest challenge about getting the young people into the blues or even live music, period?
I think that you're competing against what's kind of like become the mainstream norm for music, which is a lot of auto-tuned non-humans. And I'm not saying it's bad music. Don't get me wrong. It's just not the type of music for me. So I feel there's too much perfection in that, if it makes any sense. Like I'm a vinyl person. I love spinning vinyl because if you go back to the 70s and the 60s, when you spin vinyl, you're going to hear all these imperfections. The human element enters into the music, right? You listen to a Led Zeppelin album and you'll hear Jimmy Page hit a wrong note or whatever. It's like, I love that. And
Right?
I feel that I'm honestly kind of, based on the fact that vinyl is on a major resurgence, regardless of how people are consuming it, because again, there's audio files out there that'll be like, well, unless they're listening through this, and if it's like plugs into a USB, that doesn't count, or I think about it more from, if you're listening to a vinyl, regardless if it's kind of coming at you in a pure form or not. I'm not going to debate with how it sounds sonically, but you are going into it with an experience. You're more than likely going to play side A. If you have time, you're more than likely going to flip it and play side B, right? So that, as a musician, makes me really happy. And the fact that I'm hearing that there's a resurgence, like in the 20-some age group, tells me that there's probably a population of people now that are tired of what they're hearing on mainstream radio. They're tired of how perfect it is, how there really isn't a whole lot of content to some of it. Yeah, is it catchy and hooky and it gets you singing along? Of course. Of course it is. It's why it's popular music and why it's mainstream. But when there isn't a lot of depth to it, I think people are starting to come to the realization, hey, there's a lot of other great music out there that I'm not hearing on the radio. I'm going to go find that. So to any young people listening, man, if you want to spin some great vinyls, find anything by Muddy Waters, B.B. King, find anything by the Rolling Stones. If you really want to rock out, the Animals, go back and even listen to stuff that's being released nowadays. Listen to Marcus King. I mean, his voice is absolutely amazing, and the stuff that he's creating on his end. There's so many, Larkin Poe, there's so many great young people that are in this genre that people can latch onto and hopefully get inspired by, and maybe want to pick up an instrument, because that's even better, even if it's just for the fun and enjoyment of learning to play.
So is any of your music like on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes? Can people find your music at pretty much anywhere they look, or just on your website?
Absolutely. Yeah, if they Google Jennifer Lyn, as it's spelled, Lyn, and the Groove Revival, they'll find us on all the majors. Oh, you guys are so great. Look at that. You'll find us on all the major streaming platforms, including YouTube Music. We've got lots of videos on YouTube available for people that we're releasing all the time and updating. And yeah, so they can get a hold also of our music like CDs and vinyl through that website that you have listed as well. So JLynandtheGrooveRevival.com.
A shout out to the producer. I mean, Jeremy is awesome. He had that up there earlier too. when we were
That's
talking
awesome.
about
Oh, very
we
cool.
got time for one more question, and then we're going to cut to the last part of our show today. We're going to be replaying my interview from episode 11. I believe that was August 18th, where I interviewed the musician Hadley. So
Cool.
you guys gotta stay tuned for that. What do you think people would be surprised to know about you or learn?
I'm currently a professor for my day job. I teach engineering. That's what I went to school for. I'm an engineer. I was a structural engineer for many years and got lured to the dark side of teaching. And I've been doing that for 11 years now. And so we'll see where the road takes us. I'm currently the limiting factor. I'm holding down the day job as we get our music stuff going in the right direction.
Wow, that did surprise me. Sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes it's not really a surprise. Like
Yeah.
I know things about people, and I asked that question because I'm hoping they're going to say the things I know about. I did not know that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, there you go. So yeah, I'm an engineer by trade, musician by the love of music. So
Well, I wanted to thank you for being on the show today. You're just awesome. You're amazing. I want everybody to go to Dilworth this Saturday at the TAC and check her out.
Thursday we're at the TAC in Dilworth. Friday we're at the Empire in Grand Forks, and Saturday we are at Ann Nicole Nelson Hall, which is on the Minot State University campus. So yeah, we'd love to see people come on out.
Go check her out. Are those free tickets or is there cover charge or?
They're all ticketed shows. So right now people can buy the advance ticket, which is a little bit cheaper than the day of the show. So yeah, they can find them on our website.
Well, that's awesome. I hope to make one of those shows. But stay tuned for the last part of the show, everybody. Thanks for keeping music alive. Mwah. I think we're in.
Your body is sacred. Your body's artwork should be too. Tattoos of a memory of a loved one, an event, or a personal work of art just for you. Sacred Skin Studio is now open in the Grand Cities Mall. High quality and alluring tattoos, custom designs, and make sure to ask about the $50 flash tattoo sale. Sacred Skin Studio has a large selection of body jewelry, clothing, accessories, and a large variety of specialty goods too. And all of September, buy one, get one half off on all body jewelry. Your body is sacred. Treat it that way. Sacred Skin Studio in the Grand Cities Mall across from Rumor Sports Bar and Casino. Call today for your appointment, 701-610-6011, or check out sacredskinmobile@gmail.com.
You don't get this stuff from Howard Stern Show. You don't get this stuff from anything but Renegade Radio.
So tell the audience where you're from. Tell me about where you grew up and your family.
Yeah, so I'm from Georgia originally, born and raised there. I graduated 18, moved straight to Nashville. So I've been in Nashville ever since. And I just started singing and hit the ground running and went with that.
how did you get discovered? Like, tell me about your first gig.
So first gig, my dad, he would always hear me singing in my room. And so one day he was like, you could tell he was like either annoyed or like, we're going to run with this. So he was like, I hear you every day. Do you want to get into singing lessons? Do you not? And I didn't even know what singing lessons were. So I did those for about a year. And then he had a friend that knew someone in Nashville. And again, I didn't know what Nashville was. And so he said, would you want to go there, sing there? And I was like, sure. I don't know. So he
How
took
old were
me.
you?
I was 14. And so Tootsie's on Saturdays does open auditions. So we went and did that. And John Taylor, which is the booking manager there, he was like, once you turn 18, learn the guitar, lose 50 pounds, and learn our set list, you have a job. And I was like,
Told you
deal.
to lose 50 pounds?
Yeah, I needed
And
to.
your dad didn't lay him out?
I mean, no, I was working on it at the time anyway, but it was a really good, I mean, for me, like I said, I wanted to anyway for me, so it was a really good thing too. I did do it at the time. Now I know you lose again, but it was a fun experience.
You look fine. So, honey, you are
Thank you.
beautiful. Like, and
Thank
I've
you.
like seen clips of you on the stage. You're beautiful. Like,
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
as long as you're healthy and you're happy, who cares?
Exactly.
So was your family musical, or was it just you singing in your room?
My mom, I didn't know this until after I started doing music full time. My mom, I guess, used to sing, and my grandmother and stuff like that in church. But other than that, I mean, I didn't ever pick up an instrument until literally Tootsie's audition. So other than that, no, I just kind of picked it up and ran with it.
How old are you now?
25, about to be 26.
Wow. So you've been doing this a good decade.
A little bit.
Flies, I tell you what. It is really hot in here right now. Northern Minnesota is where I'm at right now. And I'm in my apartment now instead of the studio with the show. And the AC is right there, so it's too close to my little workstation here. I'd have that on, but I hope you can't see me dripping.
That's like me in my car. I have no AC in my car right now, and I just had to drive to Maryland, and that was torture because I was like traffic jam after traffic jam. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And you can't even open the windows and get the air.
Exactly, because it's like it's not better out there.
So who's your musical inspiration? Like, who did you listen to growing up?
Growing up was definitely as a little girl, Demi Lovato was my favorite, just vocally wise. And then Shania Twain, also Dixie Chicks were one of my favorites. I was singing those when I was 3 or 4. I have a poster somewhere of me. Embarrassing, but my mom blew it up for my graduation. Definitely older country, Tanya Tucker, stuff like that, 90s country at least.
I was actually named after Tanya Tucker.
Were you really?
So my name is Tanya, but it's spelt with an A. Mm-hmm. And my maiden name was Brucker.
Oh, wow.
That's and my mom liked the spelling of the name. She just didn't like the pronunciation. So
right. Well, I used to pronounce it wrong when I was singing it too for like the first few years, and I didn't. And my mom finally was like, "It's Tanya, not Tanya," and I'm like, "Oh, I only knew Tanya's growing up, so I didn't know."
Yeah. Reba McEntire. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Big one.
I love. So you
Kelly
sing
Pickler.
mostly. What's that?
Kelly Pickler too. I love her.
Oh yes.
I love all the. I feel like, I was talking to someone the other day about Kelly Pickler, and they don't know who she is, and I was like, for me though, as someone that was so huge, like those are my favorite things, and I feel like that's a different thing with country or just music now, like evolving. I feel like every genre of music is evolving in a different way, and it's kind of cool to like talk to other people and figure out what their like version of 90s country is, or like their version of country, But I also started in blues. I did leave that part out, so I try to do like blues and country, mix the two between each other.
Blues, I love the blues. Like, Judds, the Judds. That's what I was trying to think of.
The Judds too.
Yeah. What do you listen to now?
I listen to Lainey Wilson. Love her. Who do I listen to? Lainey, Ella Langley. She's a big one. Ashley McBride is definitely one of my top tier people. I still listen to old stuff too, though. That's the thing. Like when I go to when I go to
Sorry, the flies.
you're fine. When I go to certain shows and people request songs and their new songs, I don't know them a lot of times just because I still do listen to older stuff. So yeah, I would say Ella Langley, Ashley, Lainey. I love. I'm trying to think of men. I need to throw them in there. Obviously, I like Morgan. I like Post Malone. I have a lot of respect for what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's crazy what he's doing.
Oh my God. So, and that's the thing. I do love the blues, and until little Bobby and I started dating again. So we were friends for 30 years, and then we dated for 3 years. So until we started hanging out again, is what I mean. I forgot how much I loved the blues, because I grew up with the old country or old school rock, and
Right.
went to high school, Metallica, AC/DC, all that, and I forgot how much I loved the blues until Bobby and I started dating, and I was like, and the blues family is just they're also supportive, and
Yeah.
oh
There's so much interpretation that's left up to your own mind and your own being in those types of situations. Like the blues place I used to sing at, it was an open jam every single. I don't know if it was Monday or Tuesday, whatever. But random people would get up, and I mean, they were all older, like way older than me, and they still let me get up. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even realize what the blues were at that time. And they were like, just learn these songs. And I would just remember they would like take their solos, and I'm just starting to sing, and they're like, no, no, no. We all take solos. We all just like it's a vibe, and we all have a fun time, whatever. And I'm like, oh, we don't like speed it up. Got it. Okay. But it's just they're cooler. I mean, I think same with old country or like bluegrass. Like they take solos and they do different things with them, and they have more free, will to add into each song. So it's
yeah,
cool.
when you're listening to like all these old blues women, they just go off like there's
Hmm.
lyrics. What's lyrics? You just
Exactly.
you just sing. Do you
Right. They're
have
hitting these notes and those riffs, and you're like, who's that? Where did that come from?
how did you hit that note?
Yeah,
You have your own original music.
I do.
How many albums do you have?
I have 3 out right now. One's an EP. We're working on some new stuff, but yeah, I started that. I would say so. The first project I did, the album is the EP. It's called Life, and my dad actually paid for a producer to help me. He literally said, "Give me your journal," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And he took my journal within a week and had all these ideas. And we got together another time and we all wrote. It was me, him, and one other girl. And we wrote everything out of there except for he did write one on his own about my real dad, and it's called Good Guys. And I will say it's my most prideful song. I'm very proud of it. He literally took everything that I wrote down and like made it a song, and I was like, oh my gosh, like because again, I didn't know what songwriting was. I didn't know what harmonies were. I didn't know, all the beautiful stuff about music. I didn't know really much about it. And so, yeah, he's like, "What do you think about this?" And I was like, I just remember sitting there like crying. I was like, "How did you?" He's like, "They're your words. I just put them together." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
So
So,
he was like a old school AI.
yeah, literally, like we would be even the last song that we did. I remember I was sitting there and I couldn't figure out like one line or something like that, and he anytime I had like any confusion, he'd be like, "Well, just do this. Why don't you just say it this way?" And I'm like, how are you doing that? That's so
So
annoying.
so you can say your dad is your biggest supporter
Oh, 100%.
of your music
100%.
career.
100%.
That's awesome.
My stepdad, definitely.
So tell me about your first gig. How terrified were you?
My first gig, I don't even know what my first gig was. I remember when I was 8, my parents got me to they had friends that owned a Moe's. I don't know if you know what that is, like it's a Mexican restaurant. It's like Chipotle, but
Okay.
different. But it was 4th of July, and they got me to go out and do the national anthem. Terrible, terrible. I remember like my voice cracking, and I was like, but then I'm 8 and I looked cute, and everyone's like, "You're fine." Like, whatever. So I started with the national anthem, which is crazy to even think or say because that's the hardest song you can sing and the most terrifying song to sing. But say first cover.
Uh-oh. You're cutting out
Are you losing me? I don't know.
a little bit.
I can hear thunder too. I don't know if hopefully it'll stay on. First real gig, I don't even know what it was. I just think national anthem, biggest national anthem was Braves game. That was absolutely terrifying. And then Tootsie's, I guess, would be like my real biggest, crowd and stuff like that when it comes to cover music and all that.
When was that?
That was 14, so 2014? 2014? If I do my math correctly.
So tell me
Around
about your music career since then. Where been on tour? Where have you gigged? You opened for people?
So like I said, I moved there 18 and I worked there until about 3 years ago. And it was just kind of I needed a break from, there's a difference between traveling and doing music than you're staying on a street where there's 58 bars and there's 3 floors in each of them and there's singers on every single floor. So people are there to have an experience rather than appreciate music. And I'm not saying they did not. I had a lot of good years. I think COVID definitely, there was a big like switch. And I think it became more about partying than it became about music. So one, we worked for tips there. Like that's how we made our money. And no one believed us. And that was real. So when my money started dwindling down, I was like, okay. And then I was working so much that I almost had to get vocal cord surgery. And that was a really scary thing because you can literally lose your voice for the rest of your life. Or you can, Lauren Elena, gain an octave, but you don't know. So it got to the point where like even calling my mom hurt, like talking to someone at the drive-thru hurt. So I actually went down to Key West. I had a friend down there and he was like, why don't you come down here and take 2 weeks off and then I'll get you in our singing, rotation. And there's not very many females down there. There were only 2 at the time. So when I came down there, I was new and everyone wanted to hire me. Well, I was dumb, and so I just started singing just as much, and I was, again, killing my voice. So I spent about 2 years there on and off. I'd go back to Nashville, but very great experience. I don't regret anything that I've done. It's just I need to learn how to be safe about my voice. And so when you travel and you sing, for me, it feels like people appreciate it a little bit more. So it does feel a little bit more fulfilling at the end of each gig. Like, okay, they like what they heard. Like they didn't go next door and think, or walk out and get to go hear another person. Like they either stayed for me or whatever. And so right now, 2 years, or I guess year.
Oh crap! You're
Georgia.
starting to lose you again. Oh, and we've got about 5 minutes left, 5 minutes left, and I missed like the last couple, the last thing you said. Let's see, we got about 4 minutes left, and I'm wondering. Okay, well, first, what was I going to ask? How do people find your albums?
Everything is on anything you stream. So iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, anything like that, YouTube, all of the above.
Okay. Random question. What's your favorite comfort food?
Favorite corn dogs.
That is the funniest thing because, okay, somebody just like, there's this Facebook post going around that says, if your friend is sitting there and pouring their heart and soul out to you and they start crying, at what point in the conversation is it appropriate to start eating your corn dog?
Right.
And my answer was, it depends on the quality and the temperature of the corn dog. Because if it's a really good corn dog and it's still hot, you just eat while they're talking because, I mean, that way you're a better listener. You're not interrupting or talking over them, you know. And if it's, or you hand them a box of tissues, and while they're blowing their nose, you eat the corn dog. I mean, why
Right. We're
wait?
like, do you want a bite? I'm gonna continue. I'll
Right.
eat
I
the
just want to
rest.
make you feel better. Here, have a
Right.
bite. You got tours coming up?
We are working on our schedule right now. I don't even know what it is, to be completely honest with you. I feel like I've not slept for 4 months. So everything is posted on my website though, so hadleymusicofficial.com, and that'll be updated, regularly. So yeah.
So, do you happen to have a guitar sitting next to you?
I do in the garage.
Because I was thinking, you could maybe play us out or sing us
What do you
out.
want me to play? What do you want me to sing?
Whatever is your favorite thing to sing.
My favorite thing to sing? Oh no. I'm hell on heels, say what you will. I done made the devil a deal. You made me pretty, you made me smart, and I'm gonna break me a million hearts. I'm hell on heels, baby, I'm coming for you.
What a voice on you.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
you plan on coming up north anytime soon?
I just started recently touring up there, so yeah, I am.
Well, you're gonna
Maryland,
have to have
Minnesota.
Shannon bring you up here. You gotta,
I am.
because Little Bobby's is a really great. I don't know if he's told you anything about this place, but it is a great music venue, and you book a gig here, and maybe you'll get a star on the side of the building. There's a
When do you want to book me? I'm just kidding. No, I'm not kidding, but
right. We can talk after the show about that. I gotta talk to
yeah.
the new owners because little I don't know if he told you about little Bobby or that he passed away here.
Mhm.
And his oldest daughter was the next of kin. She took over and she's doing such an amazing job. Oh my God, this girl, she is a powerhouse. She's like her dad. She just goes in there and whatever it is, she's gonna take it over. And she's got this. I mean,
Oh, good.
I'm just so proud of her. I'm just like, and I know her dad is too. It's just.
Mhm.
I just can't wait for you to come up here though, because like this last year, during we do this Women of the Blues festival every year.
Really?
So this past year when we did it, I think it was June 1st. But at the same time, we unveiled the Little Bobby's Walk of Fame, and we had these metal stars cut out and put
Oh,
all down the
that's
side of the
cool.
building of all of the music, all of the musicians that have played here.
That's really cool. That is really cool.
It is like see your name on the side and a star on the
Yeah,
side.
I know. No, I
But
definitely need to go there.
I think the show's about over. I am so glad I got a chance to visit with you. We're gonna have to stay in touch. I mean, I'm on Facebook.
Okay,
The Bus
perfect.
with Momma T or Tanya Nelson on Facebook. I'm either wearing this one or a blue one just like it.
Perfect.
Thanks so much for being here, and I just wanted to
Thank
thank
you.
all of my viewers and all the fans. Sorry about the little break, but I'm sure you all understand. Took a couple weeks off the show, but I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad that this was a great show. I mean, oh, Hadley, you guys got to go
Thank
out, go look for her music, listen to her, and we'll get this girl up here. We will get this girl up here. HADLEYmusicofficial.com. Look her up.
you so much.
Buy her merch. Buy her
Yes, do
CDs.
that.
Today's episode is sponsored in part by Grand Forks Best Source. They're a cutting edge local media broadcasting studio with captivating shows, on location event coverage, and unparalleled advertising opportunities. Grand Forks Best Source has become a haven for podcasters like me seeking to bring their visions alive. If you're a podcaster looking for studio or platform, or a local business seeking to advertise, go ahead and email Paul at local@gfbestsource.com. You can call him at 701 740-9337, or you can go to their website that's listed on your screen there, gfbestsource.com. Tell them Momma T sent you.
Yeah, I wanna be